Now at 10, Joplin police respond to a rise in thefts and damages on air conditioning units. Plus, the sole provider of blood in the Ozarks called their supply critically low. And we'll take a look back on the Joplin's Park Ranger program 1 year later.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Vice President Kamala Harris kicked off the first full day of her presidential campaign by visiting the newly minted Harris headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Amber Jenkins. She's moving to consolidate party support, and now every Democratic governor has backed her. In the days since President Biden bowed out of the race and endorsed her, the Harris campaign added $81 million to its war chest. That's a new presidential fundraising record. Nicole Senga has the latest.
Staffers clapped and cheered as Vice President Kamala Harris visited her campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware.
It is my intention to go out and earn this nomination and to win.
As she rallied the staff, Harris spoke of her days as a prosecutor.
So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
While working to make her political case against former President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump wants to take our country backward to a time before many of our fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. But we believe in a brighter future that makes room for all Americans.
President Biden called into the event just a day after he stepped out of the race and endorsed Harris for a White House run.
I know yesterday's news was surprising and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do. The name has changed at the top of the ticket, but the mission hasn't changed at all.
On Monday, Vice President Kamala Harris shored up the kind of support she'll need ahead of Chicago's Democratic National Convention next month, including an endorsement from former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Rallying in his hometown in Ohio, Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, lashed out at Democrats.
You don't decide who the president is in smoke-filled rooms with billionaires and senior elected officials. You let the people decide. That's what we believe in this room, and that's what we're going to fight for, I promise you.
A new CBS poll shows Democratic voters are on board. 79% say the party should nominate Harris. 45% say the Democratic Party's chances against Trump are better now. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, the White House.
According to the Associated Press, by tonight, Harris had the support of at least 2,471 delegates. That number represents more than the 1,976 delegates she needed to win on a first ballot. No other candidate was named by a delegate contacted by the Associated Press. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with the first look at weather.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. Temperatures the past few days have been pretty comfortable. Yesterday, we only made it to 78 degrees. 85 today, normal high is 91, so a little bit shy. Record high is 108, set back in 1954. We're at 72 in Monette, 74 in Anderson, Welch, 73. Iola is sitting at 70. Pittsburgh checking in at 72 degrees. Most of us have been pretty quiet. We've had a few little isolated guys that have popped up along and south of I-44, so Newton County, northern parts of McDonald County, and we are going to see this as we go through the next hour or so, and then they'll fizzle apart as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. So anything that does pop up, it's pretty much gone by midnight, and then it's pretty quiet the rest of the night. Temperatures will drop back, mid-60s, back near 80 by 10 a.m. Slow warming trend, and we're going to look at that here in a bit.
Thanks, Doug. The Joplin Police Department warns the public to be aware of an increase in vandalism to air conditioners. These are looking to take copper metal from the AC unit and get some money for it. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Joplin Police Department is warning the public of an increase in vandalism to air conditioners. They're not just trying to steal the AC unit, but the copper metal in it.
Fortunately, thieves see that as an easy target to go in and damage those, cut piping, can remove it and then take it in and turn it in for scrap.
Joplin Paint Center was a victim of vandalism to their AC unit. Nancy Hussong is their store manager, and when she walked into work, she noticed something was off.
And it just seemed awfully quiet in here. I happened to walk past the air conditioning thermostat, and I noticed that there was no power to it. I was telling my boss, it seemed a little weird, so he went out and looked at the units and noticed that they were cut open and just didn't look right.
Hassan says the vandalism cost the business a lot. They had to pay for replacements, and they struggled through the heat.
In here, it happened to be right before the hottest few days that we just had, over 100 degrees, so it got up to 95 in here, so it was pretty excruciating in here.
Joplin Paint Center now has invested in extra security systems to prevent something like this from happening again.
Got new lighting out there. We've got security going into our actual units. That way, as soon as power is cut to them, it'll trip the alarm system. Definitely something other businesses should look into for future, could save them thousands.
Captain William Davis reminds people to be extra aware of their surroundings and secure their AC units. He says to reach out to the police department if you see anything suspicious. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Captain Davis recommends security cameras and to lock fences to avoid AC vandalism. The Community Blood Center of the Ozarks is positive the need for blood donations right now is critical. The CBCO is the sole provider of blood to hospital patients across the Ozarks, and it is an emergency need of all blood types. They have reported a historic low in donations and currently have less than 1 day supply available.
Being the sole supplier for 45 hospitals, we need to collect about 200 to 220 donations a day to ensure that we have an adequate supply for the hospital's inventory. So when we see numbers like this, historically low numbers, that really causes a strain on the hospitals to ensure that we've got the appropriate amount of blood on the shelves for those patients in those local hospitals.
Eligible donors are encouraged to give immediately. All donors in July will receive a Chilling in the Ozarks beach towel while supplies last. To avoid wait times, appointments are strongly encouraged. To schedule an appointment, you can go to cbco.org. It's been more than 1 year since the city of Joplin created its Park Ranger program. The program was created when the city received feedback that community members were concerned about safety. The Rangers are intended to be a visible presence in the park, helping to deter acts such as vandalism and other illegal activities. According to city officials, they act as an alternative to police in many situations at the parks. Park Rangers say it's rewarding to be able to give back to their community by help improving the parks.
You know, it's nice for people to know that if they have a question, maybe they don't want to call the police, but they're not sure if something's going on, they can always call us. We're happy to listen, talk to them, address anything as best we can. It's a fantastic thing to have available to the community.
The director of Parks and Recreation says he hopes to see the program continue to grow for years to come. If you have a problem or concern about a city park, you can submit a comment on the City of Joplin's website. KDOT hosts a public meeting seeking input from residents on the future of US 69 corridor in Crawford County. That's coming up. But first, a family in Oklahoma has a cautionary tale for others buying and installing solar panels on their home. Authorities have arrested a man they say caused an hours-long lockdown at Mercy Hospital today. This morning, police in Fort Smith, Arkansas responded to an armed suspect inside a hospital who ran from security. Officials said the 34-year-old John West had a water pistol that he had painted black to look like a real gun. They also found that he had a physician's tablet and laptop, police said. Authorities say they found West hiding in a quote in a small box in the corner of an educational room in the hospital. It only takes a split second for something to go wrong when crossing the street. In order to minimize the risk, Cherokee County Sheriff's Office wants to share some safety tips for pedestrians of all ages, but especially children. They say to stay alert and don't focus on electronic devices, make eye contact with drivers when entering traffic, and use a crosswalk when possible to cross the street. Check out KOAMNewsNow.com for more pedestrian safety tips. KDOT Southeast Kansas is hosting an upcoming public meeting concerning the future of US 69 in Crawford County. KDOT says the focus of the meeting will be on the intersection of US 69 and K103 in Cherokee County. The meeting are a follow-up to a study conducted by the department. The meeting takes place tomorrow at the Pittsburgh Auditorium from 11 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. We have a complete list of upcoming meetings on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. An Oklahoma family says they are out more than $20,000 after buying more than a dozen solar panels for their house, which they can't use. They say the company told them that they will be able to get solar credits from the city, but the city says that's not true. Caitlin Deggs has a cautionary tale for other families.
Jacqueline Osborne says they thought these solar panels would help them save money on energy costs.
Disappointment, anger, frustration.
The Osbornes bought the solar panels from Texoma Solar Solutions. They say the company told them they would be able to get energy credits through the city of Tahlequah. But Tahlequah says it doesn't have the meters to do this, so the Osbornes can't build up credits to use when the sun isn't shining.
And it's not beneficial monetarily without the net metering.
The Osbornes say the company also promised they would pay for their electric bills for 17 months, or until the city of Tahlequah installed the right meters. But then the company closed and reopened under a new name, Sunset Solar, which has also been shut down and has an F rating with the Better Business Bureau. The Osbornes say they only received 3 months of payments.
The Osbornes say they were told if this green light is on, it means that their solar panels are working. But with no noticeable changes in their energy bill, they're not sure that it does.
I was upset. I was angry.
I felt ignorant and just an empty stomach. My heart just dropped.
The owner of Texoma Solar says the issue is with the city not having the meters to allow people to build energy credits. He sent us a statement that says, in part, Ms. Osborne received the proper equipment and installation from Texoma Solar as stated in her contract.
Do research on the company. Check, make sure that they're BBB accredited.
You need to check with your city to make sure that it is something for your city.
There are some things to consider if you are planning to buy solar panels. Don't be afraid to ask questions to the installer, such as, may I speak to any of your former customers? Or what do I do if the equipment is defective? When in doubt, the Better Business Bureau can provide a reliable source of information and recommendations. A little later, some kids in Chetopa take a walk on the wild side thanks to some native animals.
Plus a slow warming trend as we go through the next few days. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be another nice day for us today. Temperatures have been really good over the past couple days. In fact, we're about 2/3 of the way through July so far. So if we look back, first week, yeah, pretty hot. We haven't hit 100 this month. The second week, we started off into the 80s and then we ended with the 90s. Last week we had a couple hot days where we approached 100, and then since last Wednesday we've been in the 80s, even yesterday 78, but we're slowly going to trend upward, but pretty even this month. 11 days above, 10 days below, one smack dab right on the average high. Looks good. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. And if we look at our temperature, 72 in Monette, 74 at Grand Lake, 71 in Parson, 71 in Lamar. So temperatures not bad. We're going to drop back into the mid 60s later on tonight. Now dew points, which measure humidity, are mainly sitting into the mid 60s. So it makes it feel a little sticky out there, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the next few days. We've also had a few isolated little thunderstorms kind of firing up this afternoon into the evening hours, mainly along and south of I-44. You can see this little cluster right across parts of Newton County and then stretching into northern parts of McDonald County. So really on the east side of Neosho over toward Granby, and then once you get back in the northern parts of McDonald County, these are going to kind of die off as we go through the next couple hours, just due to we've lost the heating of the day. Now upper level flow out of Canada, and that's why we've been a little bit cooler. It keeps that heat dome out toward the west. We don't want it to push in, and we're not really going to have to worry about it as we go through the next several days. Next week will be a different story. Let me walk you through time. Mid-60s for us tonight. As we go through the morning hours, we should be into lower 80s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, about 84 in Stockton, 86 Miami, Chanute about 88. Also notice a few isolated little guys trying to pop up again late tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening, and then after 10 p.m., they pretty much fall apart, and we're pretty calm into Wednesday morning. Starting into the upper 60s, and then by Wednesday afternoon, heating up again near 90, and a slight chance we could get an isolated thunderstorm or two. Day planted for you Tuesday. Let's go 66 to start, 82 by noon, 85 by 4, high of 87, and again, little isolated thunderstorm across the region. Let's continue to work through the rest of the week. Thursday, a little hotter, low to mid 90s, slight chance for an isolated storm. Better chances, a weak little wave kicks out, gives us a little more moisture. Once we get to Friday, this will keep our temps down just a little bit. And then on Saturday as well. And then this will push on by the time we head into Sunday, and our temperatures start to flare up again into the mid 90s. We're going to really heat up for us next week. All right, 87 tomorrow, 90 Wednesday, 92 on Thursday, 90 on Friday, 90 on Saturday. Pretty consistent hit and miss storms. And then mid 90s, upper 90s to near 100 by the middle of next week.
Looking hot, Doug.
Yeah, it's still summertime.
Well, I know we're talking about the weather, but you do look nice today.
Yeah.
Well, still ahead, the Royals try to win their 4th consecutive game, and the U.S. basketball team goes down to the wire in its final expedition before the Olympics. John Dells has those stories and more up next.
Visit your local
College football season begins in just over a month. Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State both begin their 2024 football campaigns in week 0, which gives Division II teams the ability to play a full 11-game schedule and include a bye week. Now tomorrow we hear from Missouri Southern, Pittsburgh State, and the rest of the MIAA Conference for the first time since last season. The 2024 edition of MIAA Media Day takes place in downtown Kansas City. The commissioner, Mike Racy, is the first one to speak in the morning. Pittsburgh State will be represented by first-year head coach Tom Anthony, along with a couple two-time captains, fifth-year senior quarterback Chad Dodson and sixth-year All-American linebacker Jack Barkley. Missouri Southern will bring head coach Atiba Bradley, senior wide receiver Akeem Gilmore, and redshirt junior linebacker Zach Bergman. Throughout the day, we'll have complete coverage on Facebook, Twitter, as well as the sports page on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. Switching gears to Major League Baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Braves in Atlanta over the weekend. Tonight, they begin another road trip, this time within the NL Central Division. Cardinals lose their first game of the series to the Pirates in Pittsburgh tonight, 2-1. Second baseman Nolan Gorman accounts for the only St. Louis run. It comes on a solo homer in the 5th inning. Cardinal reliever John King picks up the loss on the mound. These two teams see each other again tomorrow night. The Royals had a good weekend as well. They swept the Chicago White Sox by a combined score of 17-3 over 3 games. Tonight, Kansas City begins a new series at Kauffman Stadium against a playoff contender. Royals win Game 1 of their series against the Diamondbacks. Final score, 10-4. Bobby Witt Jr. finishes just a single away from the cycle. He hit a double, a triple, and a home run, but struck out swinging in his final at-bat. Team USA Basketball finishes its pre-Olympics showcase today, taking on Germany in London. Germany won the 2023 FIBA World Cup and hung around all the way throughout this one. They would lead the United States by 3 points as we entered the 4th quarter of this game. But down the stretch, the United States turns to, guess who? LeBron James. Down 1 with under 4 minutes remaining. LeBron gives the U.S. the lead with the lefty layup. Next possession, LeBron again going to the paint. He stretches the lead up to 3. Germany, though, not giving up. Mentioned how much success they had last summer. This alley-oop from Dennis Schroeder to Daniel Tice cuts the lead down to 1. So the United States, in its response, stays with what's worked. LeBron works his way inside, scores 2 more, puts this one out of reach. Final score 92-88. LeBron finishes with a game-high 20. Team USA goes 5-0 in the Olympic showcase. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
A 4-state hero.
An animals adaptation presentation from Pittsburgh State Nature Reach took place at the Mays Leslie Community Center in Chautauqua, Kansas today. The presenter brought along some friendly creatures like snakes and salamanders to help inform the kids about different forms of adaptations in animals. The kids got up close and personal looks at these critters.
I love to provide the community, especially children, with the opportunity to learn about these animals, and not only learn about these animals, but get to interact with these animals. They get to touch some of these animals and even get through some of the fears that they may have with snakes or maybe with insects.
The free event aimed to inform children about the different animals they may already be familiar with, many of which can be found in the wild in their native state of Kansas.
I want to know if it was Ron, our producer, that wrote friendly critters and then put snakes in the same sentence.
Right, I'm not really a fan of snakes, but hey.
Did you see the video of the snake going down the hallway?
Oh, I'm glad I didn't, because I'll be very scared.
Ask Gary. All right, weather-wise, looks pretty good for us. Temperature is not bad, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. Hit miss storm each day.
Alrighty, well, what's going on with sports?
Looking forward to hearing from the Lions and Gorillas football teams tomorrow. There's a lot of optimism around both of those teams in the offseason.
Hey, looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's make it a great evening.
Closed captioning on